Oh boy, guess what time it is? Guess what time of season it is? It's everyone's upgrade palooza! That's right, we are nearing the end of the arc, so what are essentially the next couple episodes dedicated to? Well, we started last week, but I didn't bring it up. We're dedicated to showing off those sweet, sweet set 4 main character card upgrades. You see, we may not show full fights in Vanguard in this series, but make no mistake, you will see every second of that highly marketable cardboard crack they want you to get. And you know you're going to give in. You know you're going to give in to temptation. You know you will buy singles on TCG Player because buying cases of Vanguard has been pretty minus since set 2. But yeah, anyway, so yeah. This episode, the main goal is to introduce us to Yuyu's Nirvana Ace, and quite the episode it was. You know what? I actually really dug this. Greedon Kid is a lot of fun, and this episode is mostly just him showing it off. They get to the next level of the castle, and someone's got to face Greedon Kid, so they send in Yuyu. Why send in Yuyu? Because let's be real here, he's the weakest link. He's the one, if you're going to lose because of, like, bad drive checks, lose him now! Obviously, it's mostly so we can see Nirvana now, so you can get the introduction out of the way when he inevitably fights Mirai at the end of the season. But yeah, no, so Yuyu goes up against Greedon Kid, and Greedon Kid is just taunting him and messes with his head and fucking with him and getting on his nerves, and the actor is so much fun to listen to. He really gets into it and really enjoys just being this little asshole. Like, after the last episode, where we kind of got to see more of his human side for a little bit, which I liked, the worry is always they then won't bring it back to him being, like, whiny, and a lot of times they just kind of, like, pretend that side of the character never existed, where here it's like, no, this kid is an asshole. It's just that, like, he's not always an asshole, and you can maybe, like, redeem him later, but he still needs to get his ass kicked by Yuyu. The one gripe I have with the fight would personally just be that the animation this episode felt a little stiff to me. Like, I think Overdress does a pretty good job of, like, making the movements fluid and getting a lot of really fun expressions. I don't think it's quite as good as Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's, or even the Pokemon anime with this, but I think it does a real good job on just really, like, having some fun, facial movements, but it kind of felt like they dropped the ball. Like, a few times the actor even seemed out of sync with the character's movements, and I think that's just because one is clearly putting in a lot more effort than the other. I don't know if that's just to save it for some more good Sakuga episodes later on. It's probably that, but it's always noticeable when an anime season will inevitably have to do the episode that's a little lesser in visual impression than anything else. The other big thing this episode, can we also point out Tamari's announcing? I didn't realize how much I missed this. This is also an actress who clearly, she's here to have fun, and she really, chews scenery, and it's quite a joy they let her do this. But in terms of, other stuff going on, you have, Haruka, who is sad over her loss, and Donji goes to talk to her, and she's kind of like, oh, shut up, fuck you. I know that's not what she says, but that's kind of what it just felt like. I like the fact that they're keeping the idea in place that she's not evil, she's not a villain, she's doing what she thinks is right, and she still believes that protecting Mirai and sheltering her and basically just building the world to fit that goal is right, so you kind of feel that feeling of defeat and failure on her face when she gets beaten by basically the exact opposite ideology. It doesn't really feel like a huge win for the good guys as much as it just feels like one person whose life goal is just crumbled before her eyes, and she's useless now, and before Donji can quell her, he goes back to Mirai. Mirai is now with a man who seems a tad touchy. I'm not gonna lie, that bit when they're reading the storybook, and what's-his-face is kind of got his hand over hers, it's a tad uncomforting. And considering we saw how much this guy wanted to get close to Yuyu and as well Toya, it's not the most, okay thing in the world to me. I still don't think this guy is going to turn out to be a bad guy. I think he will, ultimately either turn to good or will turn out he's working with a bigger force and then turn to good later. I don't know, it's just something with the way they play this guy. It seems almost too obvious to make him a bad guy, so I think like they will go the he's also kind of a good guy route. Although that also feels obvious, so I guess just maybe kind of in the role of he just does whatever he feels like. But yeah, no, so he is with Mirai, where we're going through this storybook Mirai has, the same storybook we see in the end credits. And we kind of seen how, in a weird way, this storybook kind of reflects Mirai's mindset. I don't know if this book is a real book in Japan. I'm going to assume no. But the big thing about this story is that it's about, from what I can gather, it's two Lion Kings who get into a fight and one of them dies. And normally in a story like that, the message is about peace and friendship and not letting power consume you, that kind of thing. Mirai, on the other hand, has interpreted it differently to mean that, no, this is just the way the world works. You can't have two kings. You can't have more than one person in control. You can't have one more person with the power. So she's going to be that. She's going to be that power. She's going to be that destruction and take down her enemies, i.e. Yuyu and crew. And I think there's kind of an interesting idea here. I brought up in the last video how Mirai is very immature and thinks in a very immature manner, and I feel like this kind of reinforces that. She's interpreted this story as less being a cautionary tale about peace and more about being like pro-war. Like, this is a girl who is angry. She's got the power to do something about it, and she's going to make damn sure everyone who has wronged her and everyone who lied to her is going to pay. And under normal circumstances, I'd be like, you go, girl, everyone kind of fucked you over, treated you like a child. You are woman, hear them roar. Or something like that. But regardless, she is then going to enact her act of violence and go against it. This is also a nice sort of contrast to what happens with Yuyu in the fight, where when Yuyu reaches his lowest point and he gets like kind of worried he's going to lose, he gets a message from Trickstar, and Trickstar is just like, get up and take it like a man, you little fuck. Well, no, basically Trickstar tells him, believe in yourself, you can do it, you have a way to win, and he does. And it's really annoying when the kid heals, but I felt like the minute the kid healed, I'm like, yeah, Yuyu's gonna win. I actually didn't read the Nirvana's effect. I think it got revealed this morning, but I didn't get a chance to read it, so it was kind of fun seeing it for the first time. Originally, my assumption would just be like mass attacks or whatever with Valiente. I was like, nope, I'm a grade 4. Take a damage, motherfucker. And then just like a lot of attacks. I also like that the grade 4s have triple drive. I remember back in the day, if I remember correctly, the original Nivelle and Exculpate grade 4s actually only still had twin drive. That's no fun. Give them the triple drive. If you're going to give us main deck grade 4s, do something to make it fun, and I like the fact that they've done that here. Also, the effect is pretty goddamn badass. I don't know if it's enough for Trickstar as a deck, because that deck has got a lot of problems, but I mean, hey, it certainly helps. But yeah, no, and then the episode ends with the kid losing. I love how he freaks out. Like, that idea, like, he loves it when he's in control and can fuck with people. The minute he's out of control and, like, someone else just is, like, about to win, he just completely loses it and starts whining. It's really good, and then, of course, the episode ends. Donji's hugging Mirai. I'm not quite sure what the shadow turning into one shadow is supposed to mean. It might just be a cool shot, or it might be how, in her mind right now, she views herself as in complete control over Donji, and therefore it's essentially he's just doing what she says. I don't know if that's where that's going to go, but the episode then ends with them looking up at touchy-feely guy being like, we're calling the police jerk. And that's that. So yeah, that was the end of the episode. All in all, I really had fun with this. I like that ultimately the message ends up being that Mirai continues to sink more into just being an angry child, whereas Yuyu, when faced with a hard situation, then stood up and was like, no, I will deal with this and I'll figure it out. And also, I'll top deck something good. But yeah, that was Card Fight Vanguard Overdress this week. As for the Vanguard question of the week, so right before I watched the episode and recorded, just while I was out in the world today, I found some packs of Clan Selection, which is good because I actually forgot to pre-order all my stuff for this set. And I actually pulled a SP Ancient Dragon Spino Driver. For those of you who don't know, Tachi's is actually one of my favorite clans. So getting an SP of this guy is nice. So my question to you is, what have been some of your favorite SP pulls? Was it stuff you found in the wild? Was it stuff you found from a box? Or heck, was it just something you bought because you wanted it and you had the money? Tell me about that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and I will see you all next week for waifu reveals, because Seraph Snow, baby.